back here on my rock, which requires full lotus because otherwise your ankles rub on the stone. So I've come back down to the beach because it's light. It's very dark up there in the forest. I'm some twice the distance from my old accommodation, which is not, oh hello bang bang, no bang bang, I'm talking and you're covered in sea and mank. Go on, shoo, go, ah, sorry about that. She's been missing me because she doesn't come up to my new kuti, nor does Bong Bong, who you can't see. She's down there. I don't know why. They know. They follow me all the way to the temple, which is at the top of the mountain. But they don't seem to come and spend the night with me at my new kuti. Maybe because Sampa Palapa monk is back and he spoils them with food and things. So they're probably hovering around his place. I only had the pleasure of their company in his absence. He's getting better. He had COVID, I understand. But he's still very quiet. Quite disconcerting. I miss his funny ways, but he'll be back to form soon, I'm sure. And it's interesting actually, this leads me on to what I was going to talk about, gratitude and the power of gratitude. I have found gratitude to be a most intriguing, useful and powerful tool for personal development. So if you're new to these videos and you're not familiar with Buddhism, do not worry about that. I'm going to talk to you today about the power of gratitude and how you can use it to increase all of the good things in your life and decrease the bad things in your life, and to really see life from a whole new perspective. It really did make a huge difference to me when I discovered this powerful mechanism of change. Now, I did come to discover it through Buddhism and through ordaining as a Buddhist monk and through suffering some very difficult times. Admittedly, yes, out of choice. When you choose to ordain as a monk, you do take on some austere practices and some difficult living conditions. This is by choice though. I fully accept that, and one can disrobe and walk away at any time. So I'm not trying to compare my experiences to anybody who is having truly hard times. But in my life, I have had hard times. And I wish during those hard times I had understood this approach that I now know. I had other ways of dealing with my difficulties, and I was fortunate in my lay life. I came into Buddhism still with a good life in the ordinary world, but practicing meditation and practicing Buddhism, I wanted to really immerse myself in it. So I had to let go of a lot of things, give up what I had. This is renunciation and part of becoming a monk. Literally, you give everything up, your home, your money, your family, your friends, and you go to another country. It's probably the best way. You can do it in your own country if you're able to, if you're within their limits and criteria for ordination. But if you go to another country, there's just one more barrier to really help you on that direction you've chosen. Now, gratitude, I discovered when I felt a little bit, in the early days, a little bit sad, a little bit homesick, a little bit like, hey, blow this for a game of soldiers, I'm going to get on a plane and go home and enjoy myself kind of attitude coming up in my mind. Now, today, I spoke to you yesterday, it was a little dark, apologies for that, it's deep in the forest where I've moved to, and my kuti has only a little light, which you don't put on really, because then you fill the kuti with insects. But nevertheless, it's fine for my accommodation and living, but it's not great for making videos, as I've discovered. However, I'll persevere with that. For now though, I wanted to get some of this beautiful evening myself down here on the beach. I hope the waves aren't too irritating for you. If they are, imagine I can hear them all night long, as well as all the creatures and the creaking trees and the logs falling on top of my tin roof, and the rats fighting with the geckos, and then the scorpion last night that was waiting for me outside of my little toilet, which is some distance from my kuti, I might add, about 100 yards walk. It's just a little hut with a hole in the floor, but I go there and you pull the door to, and you have your torch. And I don't pull the door to very much, because there's as many things inside that you don't want to get to know as there are outside in the middle of the night. But it was dark, so I had my little torch, and I went to wee, and I went to leave through the doorway, and there's this huge black scorpion with its pincer things like this, like a crab, and its taily thing like this. Now, the snakes I can deal with, they slither away, but this didn't want to move, and wherever I went around, it was following me with its eyes. So I know these things are poisonous, and they can give you quite a hefty pinch or bite or something. So anyway, long story short, I didn't shine the torch at it, I just used the edge of the torch. You shouldn't shine torches in people's faces, creatures, beings' faces. It's not nice. Just point it the other way. You can see with the ambient light. Anyway, I got away from the scorpion, and then tried not to use the toilet again in the night. I held on until the morning, hoping it would have gone away, because it stayed put. I had to wrestle my shoes. With one shoe I managed to slide away, and then using that shoe, because I didn't have a stick, I was able to poke my shoe away from the scorpion, which was guarding my shoe quite protectively. And I didn't want to leave my, it's only a flip-flop, but I didn't want to leave it there, because who knows what else you're going to tread on your way back to the kuti. Anyway, gratitude. I mean, this was just an example of what you're dealing with when you're not living in your ordinary life at home. Oh, good. Bang Bang's got the message that I'm busy now. Sorry, Bang Bang. That's not her Thai name, but it's what I call her. This feeling one gets, you know, when things aren't going your way, often brought about through uncertainty. Before we develop the understanding in Buddhism that really everything is out of our control anyway, we call that anatta, or also translated as not self, but it really means that you're not in control. You're not in control of your mind or your body. Your body gets old, it gets sick, it dies. Your mind, do you know what you're going to think next? No, it just thinks. And you cannot control those thoughts. But through this practice of ours of keeping moral virtues, sila, the just 5 precepts as a lay Buddhist, of not killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, or taking of any intoxicants, one develops the more wholesome mind states and reduces the unwholesome mind states. And this is the aim. And then your thoughts as they arise will be at least of a skillful or a wholesome nature, rather than an unskillful or an unwholesome nature, leading you into more distraction, aversion, and desire. So the 3 root causes of suffering, well, the root cause of suffering really is desire, but the 3 root causes of that are greed, hatred, and delusion. So we either want too much, or we don't want something that we don't like, so hatred, or delusion is just not understanding this very nature of all things in existence. All conditioned things are impermanent, all conditioned things are unsatisfactory, and all conditioned things are out of our control. Everything you see around me here is not permanent. It may be here for millions of years to come, but it's continuously changing. And one day it won't be here. In a very short time, by comparison, I will not be here, you will not be here. You can look at all of the people sitting next to you on the bus or in your office and be pretty sure that in 70, 80, 90 years' time, they'll all be dead, including you. There's no doubt about that. And this is what the Buddha taught us, the truth. But sometimes when you're new to this practice, that just seems a bit dull, a bit depressing, a bit morbid, and not very inspiring. So a good way of leading oneself into this gently is through these practices that the Buddha taught us. And not really included in the many lists that are there is this word gratitude. What is included is giving, dana, as a very important aspect of developing wholesome mind states. Because we all know when you give, it's better than to receive. But what I'm going to talk about is really how to receive, how we can make receiving as good as giving and being a way of giving at the same time. And that is what the real meaning behind gratitude is. And that is how gratitude can really help you develop what we know in Buddhism as these things called the 4 Brahma Viharas. The 4 Brahma Viharas, I have spoken about them before in separate videos called that, 4 Brahma Viharas. You can search through those. By the way, there's no adverts now, so you can find an old video, watch it, no interruptions. And they are, in the Pali words, I try not to use too many Pali words, but sometimes they are more appropriate because they have a meaning that doesn't translate into just simply one word. So for instance, for suffering, that we translate suffering from the word dukkha. Dukkha is a commonly used Pali word in Buddhism, meaning suffering, but it really means a lot more than suffering. It means unsatisfactoriness, not quite at the center, unbalanced, a little bit of disturbance. It's more than just suffering. It's a whole meaning in itself, and it's the realization of dukkha, the cause of dukkha, and the end of dukkha, and the path leading to the end of dukkha, that really is the meaning behind the 4 Noble Truths of suffering, cause of suffering, end of suffering, and path leading to the end of suffering. Because we're trying to establish ourselves in a balanced mind state that isn't avoiding suffering or avoiding dukkha, but understanding it as being normal, ordinary, to be expected. And when things are expected, they're no longer as harmful as the unexpected that comes from uncertainty. Once we realize that everything is uncertain and unsure, then uncertainty doesn't really exist. What is certain is uncertainty. So, the Brahma Viharas are metta, the Pali word, meaning loving kindness, karuna, meaning compassion, mudita, meaning joy for others, and upekkha, equanimity, this state of calmness, unreactiveness, not a kind of numbness, not a kind of ignorance or not caring, not that at all. A full understanding, but also understanding you don't need to react. Someone calls you a dog, you don't need to say, hey, no, I'm not a dog, or punch the person on the nose. You just need to think, I'm not a dog. Turn around, have I got a tail? No, I haven't got a tail. In your head. You understand this is just words. This is just somebody's point of view, someone's perspective, not the truth. If it's the truth, it doesn't matter. Equanimity, a very important and one of the 7 factors of enlightenment that is established through this practice. This practice is Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila was, I just said, the 5 precepts. Samadhi is meditation. Now, I've talked about meditation and will continue to talk about meditation in many more videos to come, so go back or wait and see the next ones coming for that. And Panya is wisdom. And wisdom is all that we're talking about in terms of Buddhism in developing the mind. It's not intellectual knowledge, it's not gaining qualifications, it's not reading books. It's the experiential attainment of knowledge through understanding the body and mind. And by the development of all of our actions of body, speech and mind in the direction of goodness and away from badness, we really learn to understand Sorry, I lost the track a little bit there. We learn to understand the direction we're going in towards calmness and peace through wisdom. Calmness and peace is often thought about, why we meditate, to sit and become calm and peaceful and chilled out. It's a much more deeper and experiential and beneficial practice than just that. It can be just that if you want it to be. But you can do that by any means. You could just watch a nice feel-good movie or read a good novel or go to the local bar with your friends or listen to some nice music, go for a walk in the countryside. That'll make you feel calm and give you a sense of well-being. No problem at all. Okay, meditation's better than that because it doesn't cost anything and it doesn't run out. And you can do it anywhere, anytime, any place. So all you need is yourself and something to watch. As easy and simple as your breathing is sufficient for this purpose. So it's good and beneficial in that respect, but it goes so much further than just calmness and peace and joy and love and this and that. It goes into developing whole new areas of mind states that you won't even be able to imagine without experiencing them. And this is what you can learn from understanding a little bit more about Buddhism. But back to the practical application of gratitude, we need to understand really what gratitude is. Okay, we think when we hear the word gratitude, it's about saying thank you. I remember as a child, it was a little bit embarrassing. We had to maybe, I didn't really have to be told this or have to do it even, but I know some of my friends at Christmas and birthdays would have to write a little thank you letter to Auntie Joan or Uncle John for their birthday present that you might not have even liked, and Christmas. Or you'd have to, I don't know, after someone had done something nice, you'd have to go and to your elders, say, oh, thank you. But it was kind of, felt a little artificial and rehearsed, and you were a little bit embarrassed about it. Well, I was. Maybe it was unique to me. But it's a little forced, unnatural. And gratitude is not that. Gratitude is not about saying thank you. Also, gratitude is not a doing thing. I think we call it a verb, don't we? It's not a doing thing. It probably is classified as such, a verb, a doing thing, but really it is not. It is a state of mind, a mind state. It is not something we do, it is not something we practice, it is something we develop, and it is something that becomes a quality of what we are. What we are developing is not a bigger personality, a different personality, an alter ego, or massaging this ego. We are recognizing that this personality, what we think we are, is nothing at all. It's not some kind of ethereal, mystical illusion or a dream that we can wake up from. No, we're real in that we are blood and flesh and bones. We feel pain. We experience suffering, both of the body and of the mind. This is true. This is the truth. But what we assume is ourselves is this personality, this ego, that is just made up of causes and conditions around us. So my causes and conditions around me currently make me a very different me to the me that was around 15, 20 years ago in very different causes and conditions, making me that me. You wouldn't recognize that me from this me, and this me wouldn't recognize that me. And could not have ever been predicted. You too have gone through life changes from young school, middle school, older school, university, new careers, established careers, joblessness, married, unmarried, divorced, all of these changes in life, a parent, not a parent, all of these things, and you're different. This is also rebirth in its constricted state within this lifetime, continually going on from moment to moment, flowing through your life. And when this life, this body and this mind stops, it continues to flow. Mark my words, it goes into another body and thinking mind. But that's a whole nother video also. There's ones here about that too. And there will be more in the future. So, what we're developing is gratitude, is not, oh, how to be thankful for what we get, how to be thankful for all we receive, whether we like it or not, out of politeness. It's like how I kind of came to learn by experience about this gratitude when I was a little confused at first, is one thing we're not allowed to do as monks is say thank you, which sounds rather strange, but we have all of these rules. And one of them is we don't, when we're on Pindapat, we go with our bowl every morning, it's called alms round, it's called a Pindapat, this bowl, and we get our food offered to us by all of the people in the villages, and or in the village, or we're nearby where we live, or they come to the monastery, depending on where you are. I here go into the village and many people put rice in my bowl and food. We can't say, oh, thank you very much, thank you, thank you, thank you, like this. But it actually would get a little bit tiresome if you did keep saying thank you, because it's a lot of people sometimes. But that's not the point, that's not the reason. We're not saying thank you because thank you implies a kind of a one-way transaction of mutual benefit, you giving benefit to one other. It's not that, it's a case of mutual benefit to each other. So, by receiving this dana, we call it, which is generosity, the Pali word for generosity or giving, by receiving what is given in our bowl, in this case rice, we don't say thank you because we are equally giving to this person the opportunity to give dana to us monks, to feed us monks for another day. We only eat once a day, so we are very appreciative of this meal that we're being offered. But we're appreciative and we have enormous gratitude that there are people whom want to develop wholesome mind states as well, because here in a Buddhist country their aim is to develop wholesome mind states, as is monks. A monk's aim is to develop wholesome mind states and reduce unwholesome mind states. If you're in a non-Buddhist country, it's slightly different because you're rather reliant on being just around other monastics, monks, and lay Buddhists who may be a little bit more rare who come to the monastery. But when you live in a country which is all Buddhist, even its constitution and its laws and its government and everything is just about Buddhism and revolves around the monks, then it's very much a different way of living, because you know that people really want to give to you. And everything for the monk here is provided. And we don't keep saying, oh, thank you. So someone drives you to the airport or drives you to the hospital and pays your hospital bill. You don't say, oh, thank you, because that would be insulting them. Now, I don't mean to be crude, but put it this way. If you're having a relationship with another person and it's an intimate relationship, and afterwards you said, oh, thank you very much, it would kind of be considered by the other person a little bit insulting. And likewise, if they said to you, oh, thank you very much, it wouldn't be quite right, would it? It's a little bit, it's not the right thing to say at that particular time, because it was an action of mutual benefit and mutual enjoyment. So, it's the same. It's an expression of gratitude, not necessarily that needs to be said, but by the act of what is going on. Someone is giving, you are receiving. You are giving them the opportunity to receive. And trust me, I'm going to get on to what the point of gratitude is, but this is how I develop my understanding of gratitude, and then how one can use it in other areas of our lives. So bear with me. This helps us as monks, of course, develop the understanding of gratitude. But as lay people, and I wasn't always a monk, and even now as a monk, I still have found causes, and recently, and this is why I'm talking about it, to remind me to practice this. And what this is this practice of using gratitude as a tool to develop those 4 Brahma Viharas of loving kindness, compassion, joy for others, and equanimity. So, I don't have any mental disturbance today. I had a little mental disturbance over, I don't know what it is now, I think it's the middle of the week, but it was the weekend or after the weekend. We've had some, actually, I thought it was all over, and when I made the last video this morning, I came down to the sala thinking, oh, it's just going to be us 3 monks, 4 monks maybe. Nice, go to arms round, come back, have our meal, go and meditate. And the sala was laid out for at least a dozen, that's 12 monks. All, you know when it's important monks because they have a different sitting cloth, like a very elaborate looking sitting cloth, and there was 12 all set out. I thought, no way, there's a load more high up monks all coming, another busy day. And I kind of knew something was going on today because I did have an appointment at the eye hospital in Pattaya to go to, but that had been changed because we had to be here for this. But I thought it was just going to be some brief thing. Anyway, it was all again, but I'd got used to this by now, so I'd been practicing my gratitude technique, and this no longer caused any mind disturbance. And I thought, oh well, we're going to have different kind of food again, everything's going to be different again, and I can be grateful for that. I can be grateful that it's not that I'm not getting food, and I can be grateful that I have this opportunity, because I'm sure there are people in the world whom would pay, and I think there are people in the world who pay thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds or euros or whatever your currency to go or come to places like Thailand and Chiang Mai and places like that and live and be a monk for a little while, to experience only a fraction of what I get to experience more or less each and every day. And it's always different, it's never the same. Okay, it goes for a long time of very much the same. But then suddenly, at an important time of year, for some anniversaries, it can all be very much a feeling of upheaval, uncertainty and change. How do you deal with this? You have this at work, you have it in your home life, you have it with your family, you have it in your own body when you experience illness. And this is a stark example of how you can use gratitude. Let's say, and this is how the Buddha taught it. I don't know the name of the sutta, but that's not a problem. I vaguely know the story. If someone says they don't like you, you can say, that's okay, they don't like me. At least they're not hitting me, trying to hurt me. And you can have gratitude for the fact that this person doesn't like me, that they're not hitting me. Now that's the opposite of not liking that person back for not liking you. Hatred cannot beat hatred. Love can beat hatred. However, to immediately jump from someone hating you to you loving them is a bit of a tall order. You can do it when you've really established yourself in these 4 Brahma Viharas. The first one, of course, being metta, loving kindness. You can see with this person that hates you that, well, look, why can I not love them even though they hate me? Their mother loves them. so I can love them too, despite what they've done. Their mother loves them unconditionally. Despite what they do, I can at least have respect for their mother and love them too, even whatever they're doing and they're hating me. You develop this skill, this ability, this quality. You can also have compassion, karuna. Well, they don't understand yet that it does them no good to go around hating people. It only comes back to them in the end as bad mind states rather than good mind states. They're just developing unwholesome states of mind rather than developing wholesome states of mind. So have some compassion for them. So it can help you develop those first two. But more simply, using this technique that the Buddha taught of gratitude for them, well, at least they're not hitting me, then you take a little step of adjusting your reaction, your point of view. And if you adjust your reaction, your point of view, and don't react, you're taking a little step to perfecting equanimity, that fourth of the four Brahma Viharas, upekkha. And let's say they've just got a new job or won the lottery. Do you get jealous? No, you have joy for them, yes? Because you can be joyful for others' gain. You can say, at least I didn't win the lottery, because if I won the lottery, that poor person wouldn't have won the lottery. And I'm happy without all that money. Again, a tall order, a big step. But using gratitude, you can develop these four steps gradually through this practice. Always, I say, gradually through this overall holistic practice, because you must always keep the 5 precepts, sila. One must practice meditation every day, samadhi, and this is in turn developing wisdom. Without those foundational aspects of sila and samadhi, moral virtue and meditation, it's very hard to develop any kind of wholesome mind states through wisdom, because you are always distracting yourself by hindrances to this practice, by little bits of worry or guilt, little bits of concern or fear, all of these things that come as a result of behaving badly. You don't have to be angels. The simple precepts are very, very flexible. You just don't do those certain 5 things. Kill. It's not outrageous to ask people not to kill other beings, is it? And you don't need to sort of look into that, oh, but what about this and what about that? No. It's simple. Don't you personally, intentionally kill anything. Simple as that. There's nothing complicated. The same with stealing, sexual misconduct, lying and taking intoxicants. Don't do any of those things. They harm other beings and they harm yourself. So do no harm to yourself or other beings, and then you have a firm foundation for this practice. And you can have immense gratitude to yourself for keeping those precepts. And gratitude has to begin with yourself at home. If you can have gratitude for that, you need to have gratitude for nothing. There's nothing much else you can have gratitude to yourself for, other than keeping the precepts and giving yourself time to meditate once in a while. This person hates you, okay. Well, thank you, not thank you. Have gratitude that they're not hitting you. Let's say this person does hit you, they punch you on the nose. Well, what do? Punch them back? No. You have gratitude. You don't have to then more metta, love and peace, loving kindness. You can just have gratitude. Well, at least they didn't use a knife and stab me. Or let's say they pick up a knife and they stab you with this knife. Are you expected to have gratitude for that? Well, yes, you have gratitude that they didn't kill you. And if they kill you, then they put you out of your misery. You're out of this life. You're out of this suffering. You'll be reborn into another body, another thinking mind. But if you're dead, you're going to bear no grudges at that point. If you are dead and you died hating that person, it's a different matter. But if you died with the gratitude for the life you've had so far, with the gratitude for all of the people, starting with your parents, that brought you into this world, whether intentionally or unintentionally, whether they even brought you up and looked after you or not. Your mother carried you around for at least 9 months, or 9 months, nearly 9 months. I don't know exactly how it works, but you know, a long time in their bellies, tummies. And that's some ask, isn't it? Now everyone has a mother, all beings have a mother that's done that for them. Even if your mother abandoned you at birth, she did that for you. Can you ever pay that back? No, you cannot pay that back. Not with all of the things you could give to your mother, other than loving kindness, compassion, joy for her happiness, and the offer of sharing what you know through your life experience and the benefit of what she's given you, this opportunity to grow up in a safe environment. When you think all around you is difficult, oh no, I've got to go to work today again and this new boss is turning up. What is he going to do? Is he going to sack people? Is he going to make this job harder or take that job away and give it to someone else and make all of these things going through your mind? No, 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 no. Just say, look, no one's trying to shoot me and kill me today. I'm not going to starve today. I think I have somewhere to stay tonight, out of the cold or out of the heat or away from the insects. I'm relatively healthy. What if you're not? What if you have a very painful, use my same example, very painful knee? Well, can you walk? Yes. Well, be grateful that you can walk. Maybe you have a very, very bad knee and you can't walk. But be grateful that you can wheel around or you can sit. There's always something to be grateful for, because there's always something worse than what you're suffering. And you can just be grateful for what you have. Now, okay, this is just words. I'm just saying, oh, be grateful for this, be grateful for that. But try this practice, because this is what really shows you how beneficial this can be. Firstly, what you should really be doing, if you've watched or listened to some of the things I've said before, and I probably don't say it often enough, is before you go to sleep at night is meditate for at least a minimum of 20 minutes, but hopefully an hour, 40 minutes, okay. Before you meditate at night though, just reflect upon your day and maybe bring in some gratitude at that point. Well, at least I'm still alive after today, relatively healthy, I've been fed and I've got somewhere to sleep tonight. That's enough gratitude. You don't have to thank anyone for it, you're just expressing within yourself gratitude for what you have, here and now in this moment, the opportunity to meditate and be grateful for that opportunity. And then you sleep well, you sleep peacefully. And when you wake in the morning, hopefully you're going to meditate immediately before you do anything else. Bring your awareness, your conscious awareness, to your breath or your meditation object, whatever it may be. If it's a mantra, a word like Bhutto, Bhutto, the Bhutto, Bhutto, but just observing the breath is so very kind to yourself and so very beneficial. If the first thing you can do when you wake in the morning is observe the first breath in, I can assure you from my own experience that your day will go so much more smoothly than ever you've experienced or known before. It really does work. You need do no more than that. If you can then extend that to gratitude. What am I grateful for today? You don't have to ask that question. As you breathe in, you'll say, oh, the breath. That firstly gives me my first feeling, mental emotion of positivity, a positive mental emotion. Rather than the alarm going off and, oh no, another day, the alarm goes off before, oh no, another day, it's Monday, Or even, oh yeah, it's the weekend, before, either positive emotion or negative emotion. Breathing in through the nose, feeling the coolness of the breath, knowing how that quenches, oxygenates, regenerates, restores, gives you life. How easy that is to know. Enjoy that first breath in. And then you'll feel grateful for that. As you step out of bed, feel grateful for the night you've had. Maybe you didn't have much sleep, but you had some sleep. Under a roof, in a room. Maybe it wasn't ideal, but it was something, somewhere. I had the occasion to sleep outside here the other night. When there were so many monks here, my teacher, Ajahn, the abbot, said, I'm going to sleep in your kuti. I thought, what? Thank you. Feeling grateful that he must respect me enough to want to do so. So I thought, well, I can only say what, I didn't say anything, we don't speak the same language. I just slept on the veranda, and he kept coming out as the storm brewed and the rain came pelting down and the lightning was flashing and the thunder was crashing. Every hour or so he'd come out and poke me and say, like, come in. And I just pretended I was asleep and thought, no, I'm offering him with gratitude for the opportunity to offer him my room for the night. He's given up his room to a senior monk, so why shall I not give up my room to a senior monk? And this was an immense feeling of gratitude that was inborn in me in the morning. I woke up feeling, I got through a whole night in a storm with lightning and all kinds of creatures biting me all night long, and I still had a good night's sleep. In fact, I had a very good night's sleep. I'm used to sleeping outside though. I spent 3 months solid every night sleeping outside on a rock like this on a beach in India, and then I've spent most of the nights that I lived in India for nearly 3 years sleeping outside under the stars and in forests and on rocks and on mountains and in caves. So I'm very used to sleeping outside, so it's easy for me. So I was grateful for the opportunity to sleep outside in a relatively safe environment, from humans anyway. We're never unsafe from creatures. So, gratitude. Little things you can notice that you feel. Don't try and make yourself feel grateful for them and feel thankful for them. Just find the things you are already grateful for, and they are there. Even if you have to dive deeply into your mind to think, what is it I'm grateful for? So when I was having this little bit of a disturbed mind, I hadn't had a disturbed mind for a long time. I'm not sure how long, months, maybe years even. But anyway, it came like this, a flash, a disturbed mind. I thought of something, one thought arose, and suddenly I thought, God, I wish I was there now. Or I wish I wasn't doing this now. I could have been doing that now. I don't even know what it was. But I immediately reacted but look at this, what I'm doing, and think of all the people that really would love to try and do this. And think of the opportunity I am being given to do this here and now, in this moment, that I may never have the opportunity again to do. And immense gratitude immediately welled up inside me. This is because I've been practicing it. And you too can do this. So you wake up, you think it's Monday morning, I've got to go to work, or whenever it is you have usually your worst morning, and just let the gratitude come to you. And just know it as gratitude. Know that when you have a sip of your first cup of coffee, it's not just a sip of the first cup of coffee, it's like your breath. Have you ever never been able to have whether it's tea or coffee or water even, whatever you have first thing in the morning, if you've never been able to have this for a long time, and you have to perhaps become a monk in the previous monastery in Thailand that I stayed, not far from here, you get 1 cup of tea or coffee a day in the afternoon at 5 o'clock. That's it. Well, I drink 6 to 12 cups of coffee, black, no sugar, no milk, because in the afternoon we can't have those things, but I like black coffee anyway, each and every day. So when I don't get my 1 coffee in the morning, it's but not so much, because I maybe can have some water and think, well, at least I've got water. I'm grateful for that. But when you're drinking your coffee, have gratitude for the coffee. Have gratitude for the thing you make the coffee in, or have gratitude for the person making the coffee for you, or having a person to be with, or if you're alone, for the time to be alone. People pay, and people go to all extraordinary lengths to get time off work, take holidays and travel, to go to places, to be on retreats for meditation, or some kind of stay in an ashram, or some experience whereby they're alone. They put themselves out to have that opportunity. So I know loneliness is a big problem, but if you see it as something you can be grateful for, again, a problem is turned on its, how can I say that politely? It's turned upside down. And it is like that sometimes. You have a cup and it's like just turning it the other way up. If it's upside down, well, what's it? It's just a thing. Turn it upside down, it's a cup. Sometimes we don't see things for what they are. They just need a slight adjustment in your perspective. And gratitude offers you this opportunity to do that. I think I'll talk more about gratitude next time, because I think for now, I can certainly have gratitude that it's getting dark, and rather than having ingratitude or being ungrateful for the fact that I can't see the clock because the phone's the wrong way around to see the clock, because I'm looking at the back of the phone, so I never know the time. But usually I've spoken for about 40 minutes. Hopefully I've not gone too much over that. Deep in the forest up there, the internet's absolutely appalling. So it takes 12 hours to, in the old Kuti, it took 12 hours to upload one of these videos, which is now why I make them in this time of evening, so they can spend all night uploading. But I think where I am now, it might take longer. I have to hang the phone in a plastic bag, sealed up tightly, up a tree. So I have to make sure it's charged up well and hang it up a tree to get about 1 or 2, if you understand this stuff, whatever's bigger, megabytes or kilobytes, upload speed for one of these videos to upload in 12 hours overnight. And then sometimes I have to leave the phone up there for most of the next day in order that you can see it at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, which is hopefully when you'll be watching this now. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you find it useful, and I hope I can talk to you more about gratitude in the next video, which I'm not sure when it will be, because I have uncertainty, albeit it's not disturbing my mind now, but uncertainty as to what tomorrow will bring, because I thought what today would bring, and it wasn't like that. It was different. But that's just uncertainty. It's just that. It's normal. Everything is uncertain. That is certain. So, with metta to you, loving kindness and gratitude to you for subscribing to this channel if you're newly subscribed to this channel. It's a new channel. It's very amateur because I'm not a YouTuber. I'm a monk. So I just talk as I would normally talk to a person or a few people about the teachings of the Buddha and my experience of putting them into practice and living as a monk. That's all I do, and hopefully you will find something in that content that is useful and you can put into practice in your own life. If it's not, at least maybe you laughed or smiled, or at least maybe you could think, well, at least I don't have to do that, or have some gratitude in the opposite way. I will expand upon this more. I think it's a very worthwhile subject to elaborate on and go into in a little bit more of a step-by-step way of using this valuable tool in our day-to-day lives. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that, and thank you, which I'm not supposed to say, am I? We say anumodana, which means rejoicing in mutual gratitude. It means a whole different load of things if you Google it. But really the meaning of anumodana is thank you, but it's a joint thank you. So next time you're in that situation I described as politely as I possibly could earlier, you could perhaps just say anumodana to each other. And that's one way of dealing with saying thank you, if it's at all necessary. I must stop there because I'm getting into dangerous territory. So thank you and good night. Let's take this one first.